Hello friends, and welcome to another reaction video. If you are new here, my name is Nate and I do reaction videos typically comparing the United States with other parts of the world, but I do some other reactions to mix it up a little bit. And if you're a returning viewer, then I want to welcome you back. Today's video is a reaction to somebody who's been outside of the United States for a period of time. Now, I believe there's something like 4 million or something like that expats from the US living around the world. And if you don't know much of my story or anything about me, my family and I are planning on becoming expats next summer. My wife is German, so she wouldn't really be an expat. She's moving back home. I would be an expat. Now, I have lived outside of the US for a number of years, but the difference with this move is this will be our final move. We will become expats from the United States. Now, I won't go as far as to say this is, I'll never return to the United States. But as of right now, that is the plan. We are going to move back to Germany, never to return. Never say never, right? But I'm always curious as to other expats, what their views are on the United States after being out of the United States for a period of months to years to decades. Has their view changed about the United States? Do they miss the United States? Do they want to come back? There are a number of them who have voiced that they will never return to the US for a number of different reasons. But today's video is how I see the US after living in Europe for 5 years. The original video will be linked down in the description below, so please give him some love, check out his video and give him a like. If you do like this, please give me a thumbs up and a subscription if you feel like it. Little bit of housekeeping before we get started. I don't want to make this too long, but I have created another channel. It's called Nate's Narratives. I will leave a link down to that as well. That channel is more geared toward my personal life, not reactions. So everyday stuff or trips or travel or anecdotes, philosophy, anything that I'm thinking of. So please feel free to check that out, and if you'd like to subscribe to that as well. It's a brand new channel. I have one video up right now. It is a video I took a year ago in Germany as I was walking through the woods in Dawn, Germany. So please feel free to check that out if you'd like. So with all that out of the way, let's just get into the video.
I just had a nightmare that I had to choose between 40 brands of toilet paper. It wasn't a nightmare. This is the US. I always enjoy coming back to the US to see family, friends, nature. The nature is unbeatable, especially in a place like California. But living in the US is sort of like living in one big Hollywood movie. It's an experience. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And after 4 years in Europe, I'm back in the US at the moment. So let me show you how I see the US now. It's time to do some grocery shopping. And of course, I hop in my car and drive 2 blocks to my local supermarket. And why walk when one can drive? Grocery shopping is an experience, an adventure. You see, I'm used to only 1 or 2 choices of brands to choose from in the Netherlands. Here,
so he made a joke about jumping in the car and driving 2 blocks to go to the store. I, however, have to get my car to go to the grocery store because it's like 20 minutes by car to get to the grocery store. So I don't have a choice to get in my car. I can't just walk down to the local market downtown to get my groceries, even though the closest one is a couple miles away. So the car it is.
there are like 50 brands of everything to choose from toilet paper to sausages to coffee. Let's see. hazelnut, maple pecan. I'm gonna go with caramel spice this time. On one hand, the variety is amazing. On the other, it can take me up to 15 minutes to buy toilet paper. And oh, do you know about our national treasure, Costco? At Costco, you'll find anything and everything in extra, extra, extra large. Everything really is bigger in the US. Plus the free samples, and the cheap hot dogs, and yes, unlimited drink refills. This is America.
Holy crap, the selection is crazy. And while it's really nice to come back and see all this variety in supermarkets from Safeway to Costco to Trader Joe's, it can be sometimes overwhelming when you have every single possible combination of coffee, toilet paper, and it can take me up to 20 minutes to buy a bag of chips. And the thing about free soda refills, while I still love the concept, and I loved it as a child, it's actually not so free because it's going to cost you in the long run in terms of your health.
It's time to go meet some friends for lunch. And on the way there, I see them. Oh my.
Okay, so back on the Costco thing, I'll back it up a little bit. We don't have a Costco membership, or the other big bulk item store is Sam's Club. You have to be members, so you pay a yearly membership, but then you have the luxury of getting to be able to shop in bulk. I never saw the advantage of shopping in bulk for us. Now, if you have 7 kids, yeah, I can see why you'd want to shop in bulk, but to have a box of cereal that's literally like a 1-foot cube, I would never eat that. And where do you store it? Like, you would have to have an entire room as your pantry just to hold all of this food. And I see people with grocery carts full of drinks like Gatorade, and it's so what's the word I'm looking for? It's excessive stuff. So we shop kind of like Germans shop. We shop 1 week at a time. My wife goes grocery shopping every Friday. We buy for the next week. Now, I know some Germans, they can shop per day, not a whole lot of stuff. They don't have a big fridge like we do to store all of that, but I don't understand the excessive buying of all this, and to have so many different choices. He's absolutely right. I can stand there in an aisle and just stare at all the choice. Like, what do I just give me two choices, A or B? I can handle that. I don't get it.
Meet some friends for lunch. And on the way there, I see them. Oh my. It's always a shock. The homeless. This is the part that Hollywood never shows. But life goes on. It's part of everyday life in a big city. But I am looking forward to lunch and the food scene in the US. From Asian to Mexican to everything in between, there is something for everyone. And fast food everywhere. Every block. Every mall. Every day. No wonder everyone is so big. Damn. I already gained 20 pounds. But I know I will lose it all when I get back to the Netherlands. And during lunch, my friend mentions her son had an allergic reaction. Went to the emergency room. Luckily, he was fine, but they received a bill for $20,000. And then my other friend tells me about the time he fainted, got transported to the ER, and was handed a $10,000 bill. It definitely makes one think twice before deciding to go to the ER. And then we talk about work, which is the most American thing to talk about. And he tells me casually, it's fine, same old, had to work this past weekend. Still working 60 hours a week. And I think to myself,
if I ever decide to return back to the US, I think it would be quite difficult for me to adapt back to the American way of life, culture, in terms of working, the number of hours, the stress, the lack of vacation, the fact that people don't take their vacation days. But I do miss parts of American work culture, the drive, the ambition, the energy. being surrounded by people who are very ambitious about their careers, it drove me to become a better person, a more confident person. And to be honest, I do miss that because that is part of my DNA growing up in the US. But it's a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off between, yes, you do make a lot more money in the US, but the trade-off is time.
And then we start talking about vacation.
Okay, let's stop it there. Work culture. There is a healthy balance between working too much and being competitive in the workforce, if you know what I'm saying. It's good to be competitive, to push yourself, to have those in-office rivalry type things where each one is pushing the other to excel. But I think in the US it gets to the point where it's, if you're not working 60 hours a week, you're not trying hard enough. You're lazy, you're lackadaisical, you don't care about your job, which is absolutely not the case. I have never worked outside of the US besides the military, and that's a whole other, that's comparing apples to oranges. Um, so I don't know what it's like work culture wise in Germany specifically, but I do know the person that I am, it will take me a while to get used to the fact that I'm have time off and I have to take that time off, or I'm done with work. I need to not think about work. I have my work laptop right here, and it takes a lot for me not to check up when I shouldn't be checking up outside of work hours. It takes a lot of fortitude for me not to open up my laptop just to check in. And I know that that will be something I will have to get used to in Germany. And I'm looking forward to getting used to that, because I think once I'm in that groove, then I will be able to separate the work life from the personal life and be able to shut off at the end of each day, or to be able to take a week off without feeling guilty, or 2 weeks off without feeling guilty. It'll take some getting used to, but I'm very much looking forward to it.
US, but the trade-off is time.
And then we start talking about vacation. Another friend tells me about his jam-packed 1-week vacation visiting 4 countries. And I was like, how is that possible? 4 countries, 1 week? Then I remember, that's how I used to travel as well.
And that's the thing, right? When you don't have that much time, you learn to pack everything in. I remember when I was traveling to Europe during my first time, I traveled to 10 countries in 2 weeks because, well, when you only have 2 weeks, you learn to pack everything in. I had this Google Sheets, the agenda every day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Every hour had an agenda, something to do. And that's the thing.
That's not a vacation. I mean, I get where he's coming from. I do, because every time we visit Germany, I want to get as much out of that trip as I possibly can, knowing I will be back, but not knowing when I'll be back. The last 2 years back to Germany, my wife and I have made a point of visiting somewhere we hadn't been before as part of that trip. Now, it wasn't 10 countries. It was one other country. We went to Switzerland the first time, and then this last time we went to Greece first before flying into Germany. And so I completely understand wanting to get as much time out of your vacation. But if you have an itinerary daily, hourly, you're not enjoying your time there. You're worried about the next time, the next step, the next thing to do, getting there on time, hoping they're not closed, or you're just in this rush, which is, I believe, where a lot of people come back from vacation and they say, I need a vacation from my vacation, because they didn't relax. They didn't just spend time relaxing is somewhere else. They were go, 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 just like they were back home during work. So that's one thing that's nice also, I think, about being based in Germany or in Europe. If you want to travel around Europe, you're already there. So it's not going to take as much to travel once you're there as it is from the US getting that plane ticket, because you're losing a day and a half already just getting there and then, flying back. So there's time out of your vacation already just for travel. While if you're already there, it might be 6 hours or less for you to get to another country, to a new place to enjoy your vacation.
Right, when you travel so far to Europe, to Asia from the US, and you only have 1, 2 weeks, you better make the most out of your time. Now let's get back to paying the bill.
But wait, what the hell is this? Sales tax? Tip? Madness! I need to walk off this madness and the lunch. I walk towards Stanford University, which is nearby. I walk, and then I realize that I'm the only person walking. Oh wow, it's a lot further than I thought. No wonder nobody walks in the US. I arrived at campus to see a bunch of tourists. American universities, especially elite ones, are tourist hotspots. The brand name, the letters, the cost of tuition. It's one of the biggest businesses in the US. And then I overhear some people talking about the most recent mass shooting.
A mass shooting at an American school in suburban Denver.
We are 25 days in, and there have been 40 mass shootings.
It seems like this is the norm nowadays in the US. It's sad and it's horrible. And oh yeah, the police, they beat up someone else again. What's sad is that many people no longer trust the police. And I know plenty of great police officers, but all it takes is a few bad apples to ruin it for the rest of them. Now I wonder what the news outlets are saying, because I've stopped reading the news. It's like this all-out war, CNN versus Fox. You get two different stories. It seems like such a divided country nowadays. The left versus the right, Democrats versus Republicans, the police versus the world.
And this is the thing that always shocks me when I come back now. How divided the country has become. I mean, you can literally lose a friend because of politics. The media has done a role in pitting this group versus this group as well. And it's sad because it doesn't seem so united anymore. It seems quite divided every time I come back, and it's sad. And the thing about the police, well, the police, they have such a bad reputation now, when in fact, they should be part of the community protecting people. And yes, there have been very unfortunate events that have happened. But when I think about the majority of the police officers that I have met in the past, they've been good people, genuinely good people. And nowadays, we tend to label people based on this profession. It's a bias, when in fact, I think it's wrong to do that. I think we should judge people based on their character, not on a label that we attach them to. But yeah, I hope things get better. I don't think so in the short term, but I hope things get better.
But hey, at least public restrooms are still free in the
Yeah, that's a touchy subject there with the law enforcement and the division. And he's absolutely right. You can lose friends or family members based on your political views. It might be petty. It might, in the grand scheme of things, not matter, but it still happens. And one of my best friends who lives here is in law enforcement since the day we got out of the military. So he's been in law enforcement for the last 20 years. And he's one of the good guys. Just based on his view, he's very fair with how he operates as law enforcement. He's a lieutenant now. He's not what you call like a street cop, or somebody who pulls you over or whatever. He's moved up the chain quite a ways. But even back then, but then without getting too deep into it, it really falls back on training for the police officers, for the force. They need to revamp a lot of their training to match what's going on in the world today. And I think that would solve some of the issues, not all of them, but some of them. So there is a huge divide in the US right now, which is something I'm looking to distance myself from. And I hate to think that I'm giving up on the US. But like he said, he doesn't see it happening anytime soon, but hopefully things do turn around, can change. I know they can change. Things can change. It just takes work. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to do the work, and maybe I'm not either. And that's why I want to leave. I'm kind of stuck in that space where I don't want to give up, but on the other hand, I want a better life for my family and for myself. And at this point in my life, in our lives, that better life is not here in the United States, unfortunately. So yeah, that one's a tough one. And the news just pours fuel on the fire. You can watch the same news story, but from two different news sources and get completely different results. It's not non-biased anymore. It's all based on political views. And it's like that around the world. You know, the US isn't unique in that sense. But it just seems to be, because we only have a two-party system, really, it's left or right, it's you against me. It's that division right there. It's sad. Hopefully things can turn around and we can, but this next election is going to be, it's going to be interesting.
In the short term, but I hope things get better.
But hey, at least public restrooms are still free in the US. It's time to head to the mall to do some shopping.
Quick note on that. We went to Tombstone, Arizona yesterday. Never been there. Wanted to check out, you know, the Wild West. And on the way down, I had to use the restroom. So we stopped at the gas station. I went in and I came out. I was like, oh, wow. I actually told my wife, I said, I can't wait until I can pay €1 for a clean bathroom. And she's like, it doesn't even cost €1. I said, I don't care. I will pay €1 to have a clean bathroom, because that was disgusting. And it's a public, it's not like an outhouse. But at least it's free.
And say hello to American consumerism and overly friendly customer service people. Shopping in the US is sort of like a game, looking for deals, getting credit card points. It can be extremely fun and addicting. But this is all part of the game of American consumerism, so be careful, or else you'll be in credit card debt like a dearth of Americans. Well, it's late and it's time to head home. And of course, there's traffic at 3 p.m. And this guy ahead of me just cut off the cyclist. It's quite a shock to see bikes, cars, buses, motorcycles all merging together in one lane. It can be quite dangerous to cycle in an American city. I then go and meet some friends for a drink, and I meet all these techies. And of course, I get asked the popular question.
Hey, so what do you do? I make YouTube videos. Oh, so you work for YouTube and Google, right? No, I just make videos. Oh, okay. So this is something that Americans do really well. We tend to compare ourselves against one another. It's a very competitive society. And we do this at a very young age. Which school, which college did you go to? What type of job, which company, who got promoted? It's part of the system. It's a very competitive society, in my opinion, compared to other societies. And I remember there was one time when I first started off my career, I was working in the Big Four accounting firm, and I went out to a bar with some friends. They were all investment bankers, and I was talking to this one girl who was an investment banker. And of course, we talked about what we did. And when I told her that I worked in a Big Four firm, she kind of looked down upon me and said something very judgmental, like, oh, you only work at a Big Four company. And so I just remember feeling very crappy at that point in time, like I wasn't good enough. But I don't blame her. It's the system that we grow up in. And we tend to judge each other based on what we do.
What a long, exhausting
Absolutely true.
day. Just another day in Hollywood. Just another day in the US of A.
All right, so very interesting. Not the way I had imagined that video going, which is actually quite refreshing. Again, the link to the original will be in the box below. But he didn't just, the cliche, how I feel about everything. He made it a story, which was really nice, really well done. I did enjoy that a lot. I hope you did as well. A few final thoughts. I couldn't agree more with everything he had to say, from shopping to the divisiveness to comparing yourselves to others based on your position or your work. We do that often. What do you do for work? And then, you're almost embarrassed if you're, let's say, working fast food or work retail or something, instead of some high level corporate job, making six figures a year, which for a lot of people, they're perfectly happy working fast food, working at retail stores. It's not that they don't have any ambition or drive to move up. They don't want to. They're happy where they are. And we have to realize that. We have to accept that. Not everybody wants to be a Fortune 500 CEO. I definitely don't. I work for a Fortune 500 company. Thankfully, it's global. So that's really kind of what I'm banking on, being able to move to Germany with this company. They have great relocation packages. They're in 100 different countries. But is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Absolutely not. So I think we just have to realize everybody has their own ambitions, their own goals in life. They're on their own path. They're at a specific point in their path. So we can't compare to others. But I enjoyed the video. It's a nice, refreshing take on how I view the U.S. after being gone for 5 years, type of video. So if you are an expat and you live outside of the U.S., what are your feelings about the United States now? Will you ever come back? Do you have plans to come back? Are you perfectly fine being wherever you are for the future? I would love to know your comments down below. Again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you later. Bye.